I really love this take on the 30 frames per second war that some people want to wage, because you see games like Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out that are going to be uncapped but have around 30 frames is what they're shooting for on the consoles. And then you see games like the new Final Fantasy VII remake, Cyberpunk, games like this, which will offer a performance mode, which will give you like 60 frames per second, but at reduced quality graphics, or you can run this, high quality fidelity mode, max mode, which turns on all these other options, ray tracing and all that, and 4K, and it limits you to 30 frames. This game isn't shipping with options like that. They just are going to have essentially, you're going to get around 30 frames, somewhat higher in some areas, somewhat lower in some areas, but that's what we're shooting for, kind of middle of the road. And that has sparked this debate on frames in RPGs. I do think frames matter in performance environments and shooters, especially. I preferred combat in performance mode in Cyberpunk 2077, but I highly preferred the 4K locked mode, the quality mode when I was doing RPGing and exploration, because there is such a huge difference in visuals that being able to go between the two was great for me as a player, especially with the 2.0 update and with Phantom Liberty coming in and being able to go, okay, we're you know exploring, finding quests, riding around the city on our motorcycle or in our car, listening to music, just kind of hanging out and doing stuff. That's 30 frames quality mode. Holy crap, look at how amazing this looks. And then, oh no, now I need to go stealth mode, sneak into this area, take out 30 guys. Yeah, we're going to go into performance mode. So um, in those types of environments, games like Call of Duty, Destiny 2, shooter games, I definitely want 60 frames per second because it feels much better. And anything, I mean, better if it's uncapped and you can get 120, 150, whatever. The higher the better in terms of frames with shooters. But RPGs have never been that important to have 60 frames. So 30 has never been bad for me. Starfield, as an example, I played Starfield on 30, and the entire experience was great on my Xbox, other than combat. Combat sucked because I just don't like, or I don't like shooter combat at less than 60. Like it just feels different to me at 30, and there's no aim assist in Starfield, and I was like, oh my god, I suck. Um, it was janky as hell. So I do appreciate better frames in those environments. But the rest of the time, I've always been of the inclination that it doesn't matter to me. Most of the games I play are narrative games or RPGs, a lot of turn-based games, a lot of real-time with pause games. Traditionally, I don't. I will play shooters. Like I've done Destiny 2 here in this channel a couple times. I've played almost I think I played all my brother and I played every expansion for Destiny 1, and then I played the first several years of Destiny 2 before I just kind of grew out of it and moved on to other things. So I haven't played that in a while, but I do like shooters. Um, and I do like games like, I think that God of War, those things, being able to shoot 60 frames is important. And so that's been the concern for some people, that it needed to be 60 here. And some people might be wanting to have that high-end performance, and for them, the PC is probably going to be the best option. I'm personally going to be playing on a console. I haven't decided yet between the Series X or the PS5. My PS5 gets here tomorrow, I believe, as of this recording. I've been using the Series X for like 3 years, and I freaking love this controller. It doesn't give me any pain. I can use this thing for like 12 hours, no problems. Really great, comfortable controller, and it does have the standard Xbox placement for your thumbs. And PlayStation does it a little bit differently. So I will be playing a lot over the next couple of weeks with the PlayStation controller and the PS5 controller, and deciding, is this comfortable enough to want to play long terms, games on, or is this something I'm only going to want to play, jump in and play 2-3 times a week kind of thing. So once I know which controller I prefer, it'll be that, and just, that'll probably be where I end up playing Dragon's Dogma 2. But in both cases, the console is basically around 30 frames per second, or a little bit more, a little bit less. This article came into in my mind's it's kind of walked into this conversation and was like, hold up, wait a minute. Let me tell you guys. I also prefer 60, but I got to play, and 30 frames for Dragon's Dogma 2 was excellent. And the article is Dragon's Dogma 2 has taught me I don't care enough about performance. And this is a great piece by Jade King over at thegamer.com, published a few days ago. Take your time and go read this in its entirety. I'm going to hit on some highlights as we go through. Um, uh, Dragon's Dogma 2, he said, I got to play a few hours last month, came away smitten with its mixture of epic monster battles and freeform exploration. He says, the fact I'll soon take on quests and make my mark in this world that extends beyond my own random mischief has got me so excited, even if I'll be forced to play it at 30 frames per second on console. And then they referenced this article that director Hideki Itsuno gave to Game Informer, where he basically said, in terms of performance on PS5 and Xbox, we're aiming to go at or around 30 frames per second. That's it for consoles as well. There are some functions you can turn on and off, but there aren't multiple sets of options you can change at once. But yeah, the frame rate will come uncapped for all consoles, which is great. Uncapped is great, but realistically, around 30. Dun, 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 dun. Talking about here, they're going to be launching without any of the performance presets we've seen in recent years, which I talked about earlier in the video. And they even say here, anyone hoping for consistent performance throughout the entire experience will probably be better off playing on PC. It's a fact. If you're playing at 4K and you want 60 frames or better, make sure you've got the most expensive graphics card out there and have fun. But this is where things get interesting. He says, while I understand the disappointment fans are feeling about this announcement, after hours spent playing the game on retail hardware, I can't say it's a deal breaker for me. Even amid enemy encounters featuring two-screen filling monsters, I seldom noticed a dip in the quality and performance of visuals, and I didn't have much trouble pulling off the required abilities or movements either. I was a nimble, capable warrior who could slay monsters, make many mistakes, but none of those were down to the game failing to keep up. If anything, I'd have a bigger issue with the presence of only a single save file. But that's debate for another day. It's a great debate to have. Please write an article on that next, please. That would be an awesome article to react to. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. It says here, presenting a seamless world. It said it was old-fashioned. Can't say I'm bothered by it when my history was just such things has always proven lenient. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shipped to 30 frames per second via their their quality mode and then a performance mode, which is what Cyberpunk had. It says here, this is where things get interesting again, because he says here, the cost of more frames is drastically inferior visuals to the point where its open world and cinematic sequences are reduced to such an extent that their intended impact is lost. It just isn't worth the compromise, especially with a game where combat can be mediated or challenging as you want it to be. Some players obviously prefer superior performance, but I've always put graphical splendor above that. So he's literally talking to the fact that the game looks so much better on the high-end mode, the quality mode, the fidelity mode, that capping it at 30 is fine because you're going to get the intended experience. It's kind of like certain filmmakers say, go see my film in IMAX, right? Like, that's the perfect way to see the film. Go see it in IMAX. Otherwise, you can still see it in a theater and have a great time and etc. So you could read through this at your leisure. There's more information in here, but honestly, for me personally, I don't see as this is going to be an issue at all. It wasn't really an issue for me in Starfield outside of the shooter combat, and this does not have shooter combat. I know the first game, I don't know if that one's locked to 30 frames per second, but the combat was slow enough in that one that I never had any problems locking onto things. So it's kind of a thing where I kind of throw my hands up and go, I don't really care one way or the other. I know some people are like 30 frames bullshit. It needs to be 60. And I get it for certain games. Like I have that argument that certain games are better played at 60 frames per second. But I don't believe that every game is better at 60 frames per second. Some experiences, yes. And we won't know until we get into this. But I've yet to have a game that I've played that I've loved be such that I went like, God damn it, I'm not gonna play it if it's only 30. I've never, not once in my life, have I ever looked at that and said I'm not gonna play something because it didn't get more than 30 frames a second. Goodness gracious. I love video games, everybody. I play lots of different things, so check them all out in the playlist here on YouTube. And if you're watching live daily between here and Twitch, awesome. Don't forget the Discord, the Patreon. We'll see you next time, everybody. Stay safe. Happy gaming.